say we got a lot of things done so far. A little bit of last week and a little bit of today too. We've had some time to kind of go over it. But I'd say the coach is doing a good job of getting a good game plan together.
Alijah, how different did it feel?
Alijah, every year expectations.
Alijah.
Yeah.
How different did it feel coming into the building today, knowing that you have a game coming up on Sunday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it's a little bit of a different feeling, right? Game week one, an opportunity to show not only ourselves and the fans, but the rest of the league to show what we want to be out, what we want to be about, and what our standard is. So it's a little bit more energy in the building, I'd say, and I think everybody's just excited, for Sunday.
Alijah, every year it's different, obviously, expectations-wise, stuff like that. Last year you guys had, really high expectations. What do you feel going into this year?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think for ourselves, it don't matter what anybody else thinks. It's just a matter of proving what we know we could do. You know what I'm saying? It's all about, since OTAs and camp, kind of building our identity as a team, and then coming in week one and the rest of the season and showing that identity all year long, and then being able to keep stacking the wins and carry it forward each week.
What do you think of the fact that your first game is against your old quarterback?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Personally, I think it's cool, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm just focused on us and only us. I think about the O-line, what we need to know to win this game. What kind of defense they run, what they're all about. I'll let the defense handle that.
Alijah, speaking of your defense, what do you make of your group this year? Obviously, you got a lot of returners, but how good can this defense be, in your opinion?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he'd be great, man. I think over my years here, defense has done a lot, for this team. And I think, there's still a lot of guys who are on this team from those past years on defense. So I think those guys being able to, carry it forward and kind of show the younger guys and the new guys, what they've been about for the past couple of years. I think it's great. And then you saw, we added a couple new D linemen as well. I think they did a great job bringing the right pieces here this offseason. So I'm excited to see them ball out.
What do you look forward to most getting after it tomorrow in practice when you actually have a team in front of you in a real game?
Yeah, man, I just look forward to just, running the game plan. You know what I'm saying? It's always a different feeling. You're going up against the same guys every day in camp, which is great. It's good on good. But now, we get to go up against another good team in the league. And, like I said, prove to ourselves, what we've been doing this whole offseason, eventually it's got to pay off.
Alijah, what would you say, what do you expect the identity of your offense to be this season?
I would say, man, first things first is physicality, what I'm saying, whether it's in the trenches or wide receivers blocking or running backs run the ball, it's all about physicality and being first ones to hit. And on top of that, man, just executing at the highest level. That's what you got to do in this league. Everybody knows it. So as long as all 11 people are on the same page, it's going to be a fun one.
What
do you remember your feelings, AVT, do you remember your feelings going into your first professional game, and what are you going to tell Armand this week?
Yeah, man, it's definitely a surreal feeling, you know what I'm saying? Realizing you're in the league, you're about to make your first start. I've been telling him, just cherish the moment, that's all it is. And then, you were picked here for a reason, so go out there, be yourself, do what you know, what you've been doing for the past, how long you've been playing football. So he's good, man. He's going to be good out there.
Alijah, what was your reaction to being elected a captain first time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that was a really cool feeling. I told the guys I really appreciate them, for voting me as a captain. That's special to me, especially when it's the teammates, voting for you. And being able to be captain, now at all three levels of my playing career, it's the best, feeling. I'm grateful for it. And, yeah, man, I just feel really blessed about it.
Speaking of captains, Alijah, over on the defensive side, Marcelino didn't play much last year. Obviously got some special teams time.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean for a guy like that to be a captain? And what does that tell you about you guys voting for him?
Yeah, I think it's really cool, man. I think it just shows, how much effort Marcelino comes in, and puts in the work. He's a guy who's early. He's one of the first guys here in the building, one of the last guys to leave. Always doing things right. Always bringing people together with his energy too, and he just has great energy as a teammate as well. Always talking to everybody in the locker room. So I think it was a really cool opportunity for him, and I know he feels the same way, man. Just blessed and ready to help lead our team to victories.
Alijah, how do you feel you've grown as a leader? Are you finding yourself being more vocal this year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say so, man. Especially just, in the past, throughout my career, I haven't had the opportunity to do that. So more and more now, I take advantage of those opportunities to kind of be a vocal leader and, lead not only the O-line, but the offense and the team as well. So it's cool, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know when this game can be taken away from you, so you got to take advantage of it.
Obviously, me, it meant a lot. It's a blessing. First things first is to thank God for that opportunity. But it just shows me that the mutual respect that we have amongst each other. I love going in the locker room. I love messing around, playing around, joking with everybody. I love coming here and seeing everybody's faces. And again, that's just a testament to who I am as a person. And them voting me to be one of their captains is a testament to the way they feel about me. And I'm nothing but blessed of it. And I'm happy to be there for them.
You've had a pretty good roundabout journey, with position changes and injuries and whatnot. I mean, can you describe, where you're at right now compared to, where you were a few years ago where you didn't really know where your career was going?
I just say I'm 5 years ahead of that kid that first got here. Like you said, a lot of adversity, changing positions, learning the position, injuries and stuff like that. And again, just working my way up through the process. But all I can say is through these 5 years, just learning everything I can from everybody who's stepped in the same building as me. Obviously, C.J. Mosley, Quincy Williams, Quan, Justin Hardy, and there's a bunch of more guys that I can name from previous coaching staff. But I just say I am who I am today because of them and God.
Jamie, do you think the contract and you got the contract, you're back here, and now you're a captain? Is that like kind of the ultimate confirmation that what you did things the right way to get here to this point?
Yes, sir. Most definitely. I feel like there's a process that everybody has to take, and it's your job to find your own process. Like I said, I went through all that adversity. I didn't let it deter me from my goal, which was to get a second contract and ultimately, make my family proud. And I'll say, like, with me being a captain now, I feel like it's my job to help someone find their process. I feel like as a younger player, it took me a while to find it. And if I could go back, I would really dive into that harder from the first day I got here. The thing about being in this league and staying in this league is you have to know what it takes to be a pro. That's on a daily basis. Training camp, preparation, eating right, being the right weight and size to go out there on game days. So obviously I'm glad to be a captain, but I feel like it's my job to help these younger guys and even older guys in year 5, just helping them find out who they're supposed to be and what their role is for this team to reach the same goals that I've been able to accomplish. Because at the end of the day, I feel like, you can vote me to be a captain or vote anyone to be a captain, but, what are they doing and what are their leadership qualities? And again, I feel like it's one of my job to help people become better than they were yesterday.
Jamie, speaking of captains, Marcelino is a guy that has not had a ton of playing time on defense. He's come from being undrafted and whatnot. What does that say about him to be named one of your group?
You mentioned him not playing, if you've been in this building, you know what type of guy Marcelino is. From the day he's got here, he had adversity as well. And, I put my arm around him, we've been locked in since then. But the way he practices, his approach, he's a great father. He's a great teammate. He's a great person all around. So I wasn't shocked for him to be a captain. And, I'm super excited for him. I do feel like he's going to get an opportunity this year at some point. But no matter what, he's well deserving of that award. And again, I'm happy for him.
What has jumped out, to you about him, not necessarily off the field, but as a player? I mean, what jumped out at you last year?
Marcelino?
Yeah.
how physical he is, how much he prepares, how much he loves this game. I feel like a great football player is somebody who shows it day in and day out. Training camp can get long, can get grimy. The season super long. We go all the way to January, February. He's the same person every day. He smiles, he plays music, he jokes around, same thing that I do. But what I'm saying, when it's like a sense of urgency from him. He never takes a day off. He's full speed. He runs to the ball every day. He's physical at the point of attack. Again, he's just a great teammate to have. I'm glad he's on my team. And again, I'm happy that he's one of our captains as well.
What do you think Harrison Phillips is going to add to the defense?
A lot of physicality. From his first day here, we're in the huddle, and one thing that I always mentioned in a certain situation is, just trying to anticipate and put my teammates in a better position. He beat me to it. And, that was just eye-opening and surprising because, I take it upon my shoulders to try to help my teammates get in the best position as possible. Try to let them any alert, give them any tips so they can go out there and make plays. And he came in here his first day and, he let us all know. And again, that's big for us because the more communication we have, the more tips and notes that we get as we're playing, it's just going to allow us to play faster. So I'm glad he's on our team. I watched him in the past and his film work. And, he's a technician, and again, he's another guy that's a motor guy, 4 quarters, every play, he doesn't let up. And again, I'm excited to watch him this year and play alongside of him.
Jamien, does anything change, or what changes this week now that it is a game week for real?
I wouldn't say nothing changes. From the moment AG got here, he's been preparing us for this moment. He's been preparing us for week 1. Obviously, some nerves are going to be riled up, for like guys whose first game it is. But at the end of the day, it's football. When we started training camp, you guys know we had our little tackling periods getting ready for this moment right here. So nothing changes. Really the mindset. Go out there, be physical, play to the end of the whistle, and don't let up at all.
What's it going to be like going against your old quarterback and, knowing him the way you guys do? Is there any advantage to that?
At the end of the day, everybody does what they have to do to get better each year. So I'm not going to say there's any advantage. There's stuff we're working on to get better. There's stuff we got better at from last year and vice versa. It will be cool to play against him. Obviously he's played here. We built friendship and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we're going out there with one goal in mind, and that's to play football.
Jamien, what are your expectations for the defense as a whole? How good can this unit be?
The unit can be as good as you want it to be. And again, to mention AG, from the moment he's got here, it was his message to us was that we all have to buy in. We all need to be committed to what he's trying to teach us and what our coaches are teaching. So as long as everybody's bought in, which I do feel like they are, it can be one of the best units that have played here in the league. But, it's all about those 11 players that's on the ground, on the field. And it's not just those 11 players. It's everybody in that defensive room. Again, we all have to buy in. We all have to believe in what our coaches are teaching us and go out there and execute at the end of the day.
Just a couple more.
Jamien, how challenging is week 1 prep? You are the quarterback of the defense, and you're looking at film, I imagine, from last year, and a lot of times teams don't play their starters much, if at all, during the preseason. How much do you embrace as far as getting into the playbook and also the unknown that comes with the week 1?
I feel like there's a known in every week. You know what I'm saying? Every team isn't going to show all the weapons in their arsenal every game that they have. So again, it's just going to be how diligent I work, how hard I work, and again, we're not going to know every answer. It's like, when we go out there, there's going to be some unscouted looks. And I feel that's what make NFL defenses, NFL players special. Just read and react. Whatever the offense gives you, at the end of the day, they're going to tell you a story. The down and distance, the formations, the personnel they're in, it all speaks to you. So it's your job to write that into your own story and go out there and make plays.